What's up everyone, down here Rosio. So I'm just doing a quick update to the Gate Aster video. I put the Gate Aster back in here just to do some tests, just to see if I can figure out the issue. And I found it. So it turns out the structure of the trigger, basically what happens, it was pressing up against the wires of the Gate Aster and moving the whole entire PCB. So it was only moving it just by a little bit. However, that little bit affects your hair trigger. So if you remove the take up and over travel, basically if the PCB moves a little bit, your breaking point therefore moves a little bit as well. So basically what I did was that I lobbed off the area of the trigger. I probably did a bit too much, to be entirely honest with you. I'll roll some B-rolls to show you guys what I mean. And basically after I lobbed it off, you can move the breaking point around to anywhere. It behaves as it normally should. Like like with the Titan V3, the NGRS, the Perm V2, the Perm V3, you can move it around wherever you want. You don't have to care too much about the take up and over travel. You can like bring it down to a very small level. So to set up your hair trigger. So right now I have binary and auto, because last time I didn't have auto. But just to quickly show you guys. I don't know if you guys can see the light, but basically it's there. And, this is the binary trigger. So it all works. The trigger sensitivity, I move it a little bit further back, mostly because I have not removed the take up yet. I want to remove a bit of take up and over travel, but I have to do that manually now because this is not an adjustable trigger. If you guys don't know what I mean, if you guys don't have adjustable triggers, you sometimes have to get back into the gearbox to slowly remove a bit of the take up, and then after you do your take up, then you remove the over travel. So it's sort of like a bit more work. Which is the reason why I haven't done that yet. Just mostly because I'm not bothered. Up to this point, that was pretty much the only thing that was holding back the review, was trying to figure out why the calibration or why the breaking point seems to be moving, or it requires like a minimal reset distance. It just turns out it was because the PCB was moving a bit and throwing off the detection. Um, and another quick explanation is why do I modify the max model trigger? The max model trigger is about $25 per trigger, so I don't really want to sacrifice that trigger just for one MOSFET, if you guys understand what I mean. And the tape here just so you guys can cover all my bases and everything. What else do I have to say? That's pretty much it, really. Other than that, the rest of the installation was simple. It's just more like I wasn't expecting the structure of the trigger to get in the way. This issue is probably more specific for me. It probably won't apply to most of you guys watching this video, and the only reason why is because the structure of the trigger is a tiny bit different. It kind of just depends on the clearance. So for me, it turns out that this trigger, as well as for the max model trigger, it was pressing up against the wires. You modify your trigger if you want to, and it doesn't really matter too much. Again, I'll roll some videos to show you guys, and I'll also take this apart for you once I do the video review anyways. So you guys can see all the internals and everything, because it's actually a very generic build. Pretty much anyone watching this video can build something like this, because this is probably the beauty of the Gate Aster is that it's actually just about cheap enough that you might want to consider buying it just to repair your AEG. So therefore, anyone who, let's say you're not that into upgrading yet, and you just want to like maybe swap out your switch because I don't know, maybe your cutoff lever wore, or maybe your mechanical switch is not very reliable, or your mechanical switch keeps locking up, which can still happen to some stock AEGs that still use the traditional trigger trolley and all that stuff. Even with a MOSFET, you can sometimes get those gearboxes to lock up. So the Gate Aster basically eliminates all those issues. And it's only $69 US. Actually, if you buy it when there's like a sale going on, you might even be able to pick it up for like $50 or something like that. So the Gate Aster presents like a lot. It brings a lot of value and potential. Just a very minor hiccup with what I have here. Again, I'll say this one more time. Some of these issues might be specific to me because the trigger structure might be a bit different. This ain't exactly to spec to everything. Actually, just to give you guys a heads up as well, for this black trigger, I can't remember the company that made this. I got this from Taobao. It will go very close to the sensors on the gate time as well. So I actually have to modify a little bit so that it won't touch any of the sensors of the gate time, because the gate time is sort of like this, and then the trigger just moves right in between, like pretend that this is the trigger. It will sort of like move in between, right? And then there you have your sensors over here. So the structure of this trigger will actually get a bit too close, and it will actually touch it. For the gate time, you have to make sure that it doesn't touch it. So there's a bit more checking involved. Whereas with the Aster, you don't really need to check the sensors that much because there's so much clearance. Frankly, with the Aster, the only issue that I had here, or the issue that I had here, was the structure of the trigger was touching the wires itself. So, minor issue. Not that big a video. If you guys have been following the channel for a while, I use these batteries is because they slot in perfectly into the back of a PTS stock. So it slots in there perfectly. You can actually use butterfly batteries as well. But yeah, it's all contained in there, so I figured that's why I use these batteries. So that's pretty much it for the video, and to be honest, you don't really have to watch my review because it works. Just one slight hiccup, that's all. And but you guys will see it soon anyways. And just a update video, that's all. Peace, guys. Happy shooting.